A prison cell is not supposed to be a throne room. Yet in India's politics, it often feels like bars and walls are no barrier to power. Leaders have campaigned from jail, signed orders from lockup, and controlled party machinery from custody. This is not just an embarrassment, it is a crisis of democracy. When leaders accused of corruption, violence, or abuse of office can still steer the ship of the state, the line between accountability and anarchy begins to blur. The 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2025 enters this messy battlefield with promises of change, but promises always deserve a closer look. Can leaders rule from jail? Laws are society's silent guardians, but sometimes loopholes and silences in law turn into loud distortions of power. The 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill, introduced on 20th August 2025, seeks to plug one such gap. The strange reality where a Prime Minister or Chief Minister can continue in office even after arrest. This bill has triggered fiery debates. Supporters hail it as a historic step to protect governance from being hijacked by tainted leaders. Critics call it hasty, politically loaded, and vulnerable to misuse. As always, the truth lies in peeling back layers, the provisions, the constitutional context, the comparative examples, and the democratic stakes. To understand the bill, let's first revisit the law as it stands. The Constitution does not explicitly disqualify a sitting Prime Minister or Chief Minister on arrest. Disqualification provisions exist under Article 102 for MPs and Article 191 for MLAs, largely guided by the Representation of People Act 1951. These cover grounds like holding an office of profit, being of unsound mind, insolvency, or conviction for certain offences. Conviction is the key word here. Mere arrest or charges do not automatically disqualify a legislator, let alone the Prime Minister or Chief Minister. This has allowed many leaders to retain posts while under investigation, often turning courtrooms into political stages. The Supreme Court in Lilly Thomas v. Union of India 2013 made disqualification upon conviction immediate, striking down earlier protection. But again, that relates to conviction, not arrest, which means a leader can sit in jail as head of government until proven guilty, a gap this bill seeks to close. The bill makes surgical interventions in this grey area. Its core provisions include: first one is the automatic removal upon arrest. If the Prime Minister or a Chief Minister is arrested in connection with any cognizable or non-bailable offence, they must vacate office with immediate effect. Second is the suspension versus disqualification. The bill distinguishes between temporary removal during arrest and custody and permanent disqualification after conviction. The idea is to prevent governance paralysis while safeguarding the presumption of innocence. Third one is the reinstatement of bail. If released on bail and charges are not yet proven, the leader may seek reinstatement, subject to legislative majority and the President for Prime Minister or Governor for Chief Minister formally reappointing them. Fourth is the collective continuity of governance. To prevent a governance vacuum, the Council of Ministers remain intact and the senior-most cabinet colleague may act as caretaker until a successor is chosen. Fifth is time-bound trial mechanism. For cases involving sitting Prime Ministers or Chief Ministers, the bill urges completion of trial within 1 year to balance governance needs with speedy justice. These are the bones, but as with any law, the flesh lies in interpretation and implementation. Let's unpack the ripple effects. 1. Redefining executive stability. India's parliamentary system thrives on the principle of collective responsibility. The Prime Minister or the Chief Minister is not just an individual but the fulcrum of Council of Ministers. Removing them upon arrest can trigger political churn. On the positive side, it prevents the awkwardness of governance by jail. On the downside, it risks frequent instability if arrests are politically motivated. Second, the federal decisions. Chief ministers have historically clashed with the union over arrests. Think of Jayalalitha in 2014, forced to resign after conviction in a disproportionate assets case only to return triumphantly after acquittal. This bill could multiply such scenarios at state level, tightening the union's grip through governors empowered in the reinstatement process. Third, presumption of innocence versus clean politics. Criminal law rests on innocent until proven guilty. but politics demands Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. The bill tries to walk this tightrope. Temporary removal respects dignity of office. Reinstatement respects individual rights, yet the balance is fragile. Fourth is the potential for misuse. In India's polarized landscape, arrest is not always neutral. Opposition parties fear the bill could become a weapon. Leaders arrested on flimsy charges, governments destabilized, voters' mandates undermined. Safeguards like speedy trials are promised, but judicial backlogs make timelines aspirational. Looking beyond borders clarifies the stake. South Africa, President Jacob Zuma faced calls to resign after corruption charges but technically remained in power until political pressure forced him out. Pakistan prime ministers like Nawaz Sharif were ousted through court rulings, not automatic disqualification upon arrest. United Kingdom, arrest of a prime minister is politically unthinkable, but resignation norms are driven by convention, not codified law. India therefore stands at an unusual crossroads, formalizing what elsewhere is handled through political morality or conventions. Our own history provides colorful illustrations. Indira Gandhi in 1977, arrested briefly after emergency, though not as the Prime Minister, it shaped the political imagination of state versus leader. Lalu Prasad Yadav in 1997, forced to step down as Bihar Chief Minister during the fodder scam, but installed his wife as proxy. Arrest did not break dynastic control. Arvind Kejriwal in 2024, arrest of a sitting Chief Minister over excise policy case raised precisely the question this bill now addresses. Should governance continue from jail? The bill seems almost born out of these episodes, a codified response to the repeated dance of law, politics and power. The strengths of the bill. Let's see the strengths of the bill. Clarity in crisis. No more ambiguity about whether a leader can sign files from custody. Signal to voters. Reaffirms commitment to probity in high office. Institutional balance. Separates temporary removal from permanent disqualification, preventing overreach. Also the weaknesses and concerns. Arrest is not equals to guilt. Even malicious arrests could topple governments. Governor's discretion. Reinforcement of gubernatorial powers risks federal friction. Judicial bottleneck. Time-bound trials may remain wishful thinking unless systemic reforms occur. For the bill to be more than a political stick, several safeguards are essential. Independent judicial oversight for arrests of the Prime Minister or the Chief Minister. A review mechanism ensuring reinstatement is not hostage to partisan governance. Parallel reforms to accelerate trial timelines with special courts. Building conventions of political morality so resignation upon arrest becomes voluntary, not enforced. So to wrap up, the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill is a mirror to India's democratic anxieties. It asks, can a democracy afford leaders who govern from jail cells, or does such tolerance corrode the very faith in governance? By mandating removal upon arrest, it tries to assert dignity of office over durability of individual leaders. But dignity without safeguards can turn into danger. The bill is bold but also brittle. Its success will depend on whether India can strengthen institutions enough to prevent its misuse. If implemented wisely, it may cleanse the political arena of the bizarre image of governance by custody. If not, it risks becoming yet another arena where law and politics wrestle endlessly while governance suffers. Ultimately, the bill is less about removing prime ministers of chief ministers. It is about restoring trust. Trust that the highest officers of the land are not shields for personal battles, but sanctuaries of public service. And trust once broken takes far long to repair than constitutions to amend.